All right, everyone. Game week 3 already. With 3 weeks pretty much into FPL already. Feels absolutely mental. You join me in the middle of creating an FPL meme, which you'll see after I get through some of the early content of the stream. Good to have you in here, Bobby, mate. As always, absolute pleasure. Yeah, I accidentally set the stream. I've been working away this week, right? And in my hotel room one evening, I was very tired after a long, hard day of grafting. Set my stream up, did the thumbnail, did the scheduling, etc., and I accidentally set it for Wednesday. So yeah, we're back though. We're at the right time, 2.5 hours before the deadline on Friday. Yeah, really looking forward to the week ahead, basically. I'm stuck, unfortunately, with Gabriel in my team, and I'm very unsure what to do with it. Still haven't made a decision on that one. So I'm hoping as the stream goes on, a bit of news comes out, lineup predictions, etc., yeah, we find out whether I'm going for Gabriel or not. But yeah, you join me in the middle of creating a meme, so I'm just gonna finish that one if that's all right. It reflects my current feelings. And it's related to a tweet we've all seen today. So I'm just gonna put this on Twitter, and I'll be right with you guys. But yeah, I hope everyone in the chat is all good. Bear with while I just make the meme. Estupinian or Digne? Oh, Estupinian, mate. Dean is an absolute troll of a man. I would never have Dean in fantasy football ever again, I don't think. Bear with, folks. I'm just having a little meme on a second. We'll be back in a little jiffy. Oh, the meme doesn't seem to want to work. Digne is one of the FPL options. Is that best? Is that worst? I think personally for me it's worse. Whenever I've bought him, he's gone to absolute poo. That's what happens with me and Luca Dean. We don't have a good relationship. Sorry, bear with. I'm just creating some FPL memes. Hopefully this time it works. This is a live face mugshot of me. Not sure what to do with Gabriel. Yeah, absolutely on Luca Dean. I'm just going to do this tweet and then we'll be good to go. Got a bit of content to show you. Top players for expected points, etc. And then my team. Like I said, I've got a bit of a decision to make on whether I go... Well, whether I stick or twist on Gabriel, basically. With the injuries that Arsenal have across their back line, I say that closing my eyes with disappointment. I basically think that Gabriel could start, and he's got a phenomenal record against... bit of Trump on the stream, mate. You love it. No, I don't. I just thought it'd be funny to do an FPL meme about him. Yeah, I just have the worst feeling in the world that Gabriel plays... He scores against Fulham. So I'm pretty sure he's got like something like 4 goals in 3 games against Fulham or something mental like that. And Fulham have got the worst expected goals conceded from set pieces. Yeah, across any team this season so far. So it's absolutely lined up for Gabriel to score a goal when everyone sells him. So yeah, just my 2 pence or 2 cents, whatever you want to call it. Don't know. It's just I feel like it's gonna be a painful one. Whatever I do with Gabriel. And then if I don't sell him, obviously the rumours linking him to Saudi Arabia. I'm pretty sure Arteta was caught in a press conference today saying there's going to be some more players leaving. And with Gabriel being linked to a Saudi club, could he be on the way out? I mean, I'm sure we'd have heard a little bit more about it, but yeah. How's Paddy doing anyway? It's good to have Paddy in the chat. FPL royalty. Right, let's have a quick look. So what I do with all these deadline streams then is we have a look at my score predictions for the games. Chelsea, Luton tonight. What are we saying, lads? What do you think about these scores? Chelsea, I reckon they're going to pump Luton tonight. I feel like Luton are going to be a bit of a force at Kenilworth Road. That ground has got, obviously, a unique sort of feeling to it, and I reckon they can turn that place into a hard place to go. But Stamford Bridge, Chelsea, I think they cream them 3-0, to be honest. I reckon Jackson gets amongst the goals for the first time. I feel like he's looked really good. It's just been a case of either Chelsea haven't quite been finding him with the final ball, or he's missed a couple of chances as well, hasn't he? Bournemouth and Spurs. Now, I made these score predictions assuming that Maddison wasn't in the Spurs team. Regardless, I've got a feeling that Bournemouth could beat Spurs regardless. Just unfortunately that Maddison was announced to be starting just as I was finishing work, and I didn't have time, unfortunately, to change the graphics. But I would probably say this game will be a 2-2 draw with Maddison, and I reckon Maddison will get Spurs an extra goal. Arsenal, I reckon they cream Fulham. They seem to have a really, really good record against them. I could easily see that game being 4-0. And yeah, Spaghetti and Beans is saying, such a, just an absolute mind, you know what, to decide what to do with Gabriel for me this week. He's gone down in price. I don't care about losing value on him. It's just whether he plays this week or whether it's worth in the long run taking him out. Arsenal, from whenever I've seen them play against Fulham, they do really well. So it's a really tough one, and we'll decide what I do with that on the stream. And hopefully we get a bit of info coming out, although I'm not 100% sure we do. Brentford and Palace. I think Brentford have looked really, really good. They haven't really, and this is, full compliment to them, really, they haven't really looked any worse without Tony in the team. Obviously, Tony's by far and away their best player, but they seem to be doing absolutely fine without him. So I reckon they beat Palace 2-1. Everton and Wolves, oh man, I reckon that's going to be a 0-0, the only 0-0 of the weekend. Man United and Forest, I think Man United win that game and score a few goals, but I don't see, I can see Forest scoring, to be honest. Brighton and West Ham, I reckon Brighton win that one 2-0. Hopefully, Estupinian gets amongst the attacking returns again. Alexandru, no problem at all. What's your travelling, mate? Are you off on holiday, or are you just doing some work stuff? It looks highly likely that Maddison is going to play, so I don't think we're going to get any more info than we currently have. But Ange Postecoglou, he says that Maddison is fit and training well, training freely. And Planet FPL James, who is probably my most trusted Spurs fan that I follow on Twitter, seems to think that Maddison will play. So hopefully that helps you, mate. I definitely wouldn't be selling Maddison if I had the choice. Bear with, lads. I've just got to blow my nose. What's our mate Paul O'Keefe saying? We'll help Alexandra out here a second. Start Pedro or Gab. Oh, Pedro, mate. He's on the penalties. You have to. Pedro will play, I think, with Enciso being injured. Paul O'Keefe will have something on, won't he, at some point? Lovely. Going to the seaside for the weekend. Beautiful. Nothing from Paul O'Keefe on Maddison Alexandru, but keep a lookout on Paul O'Keefe's Twitter. Where do we get to? Brighton beating West Ham. Yeah, I reckon they win that game 2-0. Probably keep a clean sheet. Villa, I reckon they beat Burnley 2-0. The way that I am thinking about my team this week, I've got Gabriel and Watkins. Now, I'm not desperate to get rid of Watkins, and I don't think if you're looking at doing like Watkins to Jackson and not enabling any other moves, then I wouldn't bother. But for me, I've got Gabriel stinking out my team. I could swap him for Diaz, but in order to free up the cash, I could sell Watkins to Jackson. Those could be a nice couple of moves for my team. I agree, Spaghetti and Beans. I think it's a very luxury transfer, and Watkins definitely has some good upside. So, yeah, I wouldn't be making the move unless I needed to enable other moves, basically, which is what I'm looking at doing this week. I reckon Man City pumped Sheffield United. To be honest, I've got them winning 4-1, but I reckon they could quite easily keep a clean sheet. Hopefully Haaland gets amongst the goals, though it doesn't really mean anything because everyone's got him, and he's obviously the best captain this week. Then Newcastle and Liverpool, the fact that it's at St James's Park, I reckon that could end in a draw, a couple of goals for each team. Dylan, I will get onto a wildcard team after we get through this content, not a problem at all. Ben, good to have you in the chat, my friend. And then we got the top players by position for expected points according to DraftHound. Ederson tops the list for goalkeepers. We've got Onana in second, Ramsdale, Martinez, Sanchez, Flecken, Vicario, Neto, Pickford, and Steele. So those are your top keepers. Defenders, Estupinian. Well, I think some of these expected points are a little bit inflated, but hear me out. Estupinian, 6.7 expected points, which is one of the highest defender expected points total I've ever seen. I think the fact that we've only had 2 games so far this season, some of the expected points figures you might see are slightly inflated, but I would agree that Estupinian's probably on paper one of the best defenders this week, along with Chilwell. Saliba in third, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Colwill, White, Trippier, Pinnock, and Dunk. Only this game week. Midfielders, there's no Salah on this list, quite surprisingly. I'm not quite sure why he hasn't made it on this list. We can go on to the DraftHound website in a second and see where he sits. I think this was just after the Saudi Arabia news announcement, and he was probably predicted not to start at the time that happened. But I don't think those rumours have been debunked, but I do think he's going to play this weekend. So we'll have a look in proper detail. But those are the rest of the midfielders there. I'd imagine Salah to be an option amongst this list. Probably maybe one below Son, something like that. And then the forwards, it's no surprise that Haaland's top of the list. Wissa, Watkins, Solanke, Isak, Jackson, Alvarez, Pedro, Nketiah, and Awoniyi. And interestingly, looking at the expected points, they're very close, but Watkins is slightly ahead of Jackson, according to DraftHound. Onto the captaincy, Haaland by far and away the top player for expected points this week. I mean, Sheffield United away, obviously Sheffield United at the Etihad is slightly better, but it's literally the best fixture you could possibly ask for. Saka, Matoma, Odegaard, Rashford, Estupinian. For me, this is just a straight Haaland captaincy this week. I don't think you can really hedge against him with the opponent that he has. In the chat, though, if you're going different than Haaland, let me know. But I don't think you can possibly do that this week, to be honest. And then, there's my meme. And then on the clean sheet odds, we got Man City top of the list, 60% according to DraftHound to keep a clean sheet. Chelsea on 56, Arsenal 50, United 48. Brighton 42, Brentford 38, Everton 38, and Villa 36. Usually a team sort of below 30% for clean sheet odds. I don't really back them at all to be keeping clean sheets. And I would agree with Paddy that Fulham are probably the worst team in the league. I'd completely agree, mate. I think they look pretty woeful. And then a quick look at my team. This is how we're lining up. Unfortunately, because I was live for the Game Week 1 deadline, I wasn't privy to the Saliba information because I was looking at my chat with 2 minutes to go for the deadline and just didn't see it. So I started with Gabriel. Obviously, pretty unlucky to be in that position. But I'm a little bit unsure of what to do with him this week. As I was saying, I could do Gabriel to Ruben Diaz, who I think is probably the best Man City defensive pick. And with the run of fixtures, if we just pull up Haaland, with the run of fixtures that Man City are about to go on, I reckon Diaz could be a good pick with those fixtures. And then I could quite easily drop Watkins to Jackson to free up the funds. But, I mean, with the injuries that Arsenal have across the back line and suspensions, Tomiyasu, I reckon Gabriel could play this week. And, as Paddy said, Fulham are literally the worst team in the Premier League at the moment. They're definitely the worst team for expected goals conceded from set pieces. And obviously that's where Gabriel gets his goals from. And he had the highest expected goals for defenders last season. I think he sat on 5 expected goals last season. And I'm pretty sure he scored against Fulham as well. So this is the one. Let me know in the chat what you think I should do here. Should I just sit on my hands? I've got 2 frees, so I'm definitely going to use a transfer. I'll probably go for Cameron Archer, who has just signed for Sheffield United. I know they've got Man City up next, but I think of all the 4.5 million strikers, he's probably going to be starting. So I'll go for him. Mubama doesn't seem to be getting in the team, so I could just do Mubama for Archer and leave the team as it is. Or, of course, I can do Gabriel for Diaz and then Watkins to Jackson. I think with my team, those are the 2 choices I've got to make. The one thing I would say is whenever I've done really well in fantasy football, like in one of the games, fan team last season, I won about £300 playing it. I'd say the one thing that set it apart from other games that I played is I was just really patient. I sat on my hands, let the transfers accumulate. In fantasy, it's a bit different to FPL because you can accumulate unlimited transfers, up to 38 transfers week on week rather than just FPL, which you can only build up to 2 on. But basically, there were so many weeks where I just didn't see an obvious change in my team. I rolled, and it really benefited me. And I almost feel like we're in a position this week where it's the same. Obviously, I'm going to lose a transfer if I don't use one. So I have a bit of a situation here. Arsenal attackers wouldn't be a bad pick. Saka, Odegaard, Twightball, and Footy. But you better believe I'm not captain anyone but Haaland. Oh, totally, mate. I will do, Ben. I will do. They've just added the function in Draft Hand where I can find your team. Salah to Odegaard or Jesus. I wouldn't sell. I wouldn't sell Salah. If you had João Pedro from Brighton, would you put him in your team? Absolutely. With Enciso being injured, I think he's going to play, and he's obviously taking the penalties. Pickford hold. Who have Everton got? I must admit, I'm quite glad I haven't gone for Pickford. Let's see who Everton have. Oh, blimey, he's on 2 points. Wolves at home. Yeah, I'd hold Pickford for Wolves at home. What to do with Maddison? It looks like he's fit, mate, so I would be keeping Maddison. Shaw to Guardiola. I think if you can afford it, it's Shaw to Diaz. I just don't trust Guardiola to play all the games. Tom, I would say Gusto and Pedro are probably equally nailed. And Pedro is definitely more likely to haul. He takes the penalties for his team. Best defender for Stones, Ruben Dias, in my opinion, probably. Mitoma or Martinelli? I'd say Martinelli because although they've got Man United next, but you could see Arsenal scoring against Man United. And Everton, Spurs, Bournemouth. But the Brighton fixtures, I'm pretty sure, get pretty tricky, don't they? Yeah, they do. They got Newcastle. Yeah, so the Brighton fixtures get really tough. Obviously not saying they're bad options. Whereas the Arsenal ones get a bit tough. So I'd probably say Martin. But then you've got the fact that Martinelli has not exactly tore the world up at the start. Well, since the season started, he's just got one sultry assist, hasn't he? And he didn't do too well. He hasn't done too well for underlying numbers. So there's a chance that Trossard could come in his place. Whereas Mitoma, you got to think he's nailed, right? I'd probably say Mitoma. I'm going to change my mind and say Mitoma. Doesn't worry me about Pedro at all, mate. He's just spoken about Ferguson. I just want to decide who to bench this week between Mitoma and Martinelli. Oh man, you must have a different decision to make than that. I would play both of them and bench someone else. I still think Shaw to Diaz is the better decision. And I know Guardiola's the most expensive defender of all time, but we've seen Pep drop Ederson. No one in that team is nailed, really. That's just my opinion. Also, do we think that Pep Guardiola being on the sidelines with his back problems, do we think that's a negative on Man City's clean sheet likelihood? I guess that's something to think about, isn't it? Guess that's something to think about. Quick little look at Twitter. Let's see if we've got some predicted lineups to help me with my Arsenal decisions. Arsenal predicted lineup. Oh, bloody hell. 87. You probably can't read this. It probably won't expand. 2 seconds. Basically, the Arsenal fans that vote on the starting lineup here, no, you can't see it. Sorry, chaps, but they've got Gabriel 87% to start. 87% of Arsenal fans have predicted Gabriel to start. Christ. That makes my decision really tough. Maybe I stick with Gabriel this week and then sell him next. What's your fan team for this week? Again, for some reason I cannot sign into fan team on my browser, so I'm just going to do it on my phone and show you. Are you concurring only downgrading Gabriel with a cheaper defender? and rolling it. Spaghetti and beans, my decision is either keep him or go Gabriel to Diaz and Watkins to Jackson. That's the calls I've got, really. Yeah, I like it, Bobby. I think Henry, if I needed to go cheaper, Henry's the best replacement because they got a nice run. Don't know whether to go Gabriel to Diaz or roll and start Eze or go aggressive and go. No, I wouldn't sell any of those guys for Foden. I definitely consider Henry, but I feel like Diaz is better. And I could do Watkins to Jackson to enable it, and I think that's also a fine move. Ben, here is how I'm looking in fan team. If you can see that, I've got Sam Johnson in goal, Chilwell, Estupinian, Udogie from Spurs, Salah, Martinelli, Bruno, Matome, no, that's Mbumo, João Pedro, Watkins, and Haaland. Salah to Foden -4. That's a terrible call, mate. Don't do that. Even if Foden scores more points than Salah this week, it's just not worth it. If I keep Gabriel, do I start him over Eze? No. No, I'd start Eze over Gabriel. I think, Bobby, the call is to keep Gabriel one more week, isn't it? Nice moves, Ben. Nice moves. Although I don't think it's worth... This week wasn't necessarily the week to be selling João Pedro. I think after this week you could do. I definitely wouldn't sell João Pedro, Brisky. I think he's going to play. Sure, to any City defender? Possibly, but if you've got to take a hit for it, I think you should go to your bench. Think about it. Is there going to be... Man City have to keep a clean sheet for that move to be worth it. And that also suggests they have to score 4 more points than anyone on your bench for that to be worth it. I'm not sure. Not sure that's worth it. And Spaghetti and Beans, I don't think this week is the week to do Watkins to Jackson at all. I think if you're just doing Watkins to Jackson, you shouldn't bother. I think Diaz is the best Luke Shaw replacement. With the fixtures they've got coming up, he's probably the most nailed City defender. I think they could keep 5 of 6 clean sheets coming up. Thing that annoys me about Pedro is you never get them minutes. So it doesn't matter. Oh, in fan team, no. But he's only 5.5 million, mate. Like, the upside's there. For me, it's him or Cash. Fair enough. You have to play Shaw or Trent. Well, why don't you just play Trent? Why don't you just play Trent? You've got 8 million Trent and you're not happy to play Trent. And surely you should sell Trent because he's worth more. Anyone need to be transferred out? No. No. Hold your nerve, Alfie. That midfield is absolutely fine. The problem we're having in FPL at the moment is we've had one game week where quite a lot of the big gun popular players have not scored. And people are being a bit knee-jerky. Yeah, but Trent can score in any game, Brisky. That's the thing. It doesn't matter about the opponent. He can score or assist in any game. Should I bring in Alvarez or Foden? Of the two, I'd probably say Foden. But I wouldn't take a hit to do it. Maddison's a Foden -4. No, Maddison's fit. Just don't... I know you want... It sounds like you want Foden, Yogesh, but I reckon you should keep the team you've got. Thoughts on Eze? I really like Eze. It's just unfortunate that Palace just don't look any good going forward. He's the only one that's doing anything for them. And obviously that's to his detriment in terms of returns. So I like him. But I'm kind of glad I didn't go with him because the rest of the team don't look very good. Brisky, I don't... You want my opinion? I gave it to you. I don't think it's worth it, mate. I think you should just start Trent. Like, there's so many people, in my opinion, this game week who would be much better off just sitting on their hands rather than trying to force a move. I've not seen enough out of Son, Nicholas, to suggest he's a good option, unfortunately. I really backed him at the start of the season to do well, especially if Harry Kane left, but I don't know what you guys in the chat think, but I've just not seen enough from Son yet. I just don't think he's been good enough to consider him as an option. Jota to Mbumo. I would probably do that move because I don't particularly like Jota as an option because you just don't know who's going to play. So I like Jota to Mbumo, but I wouldn't take a hit for it. Barmy Army, you should roll. I know I've not bigged up Eze, but the fact he's on penalties and free kicks means he can score in any game. And I think it's better than spending a transfer. I always get cold when I go on stream. I don't know what it is. I think every time I've done one, there's been something in my room that's making me sneeze. It's really annoying. 2 secs. Yeah, so Zayn, I've got a dilemma, right? I'm not just going to do Watkins to Sterling. That's not worth it in my opinion. You know, Watkins got Burnley away and he's just scored a hat-trick. So I'm not going to do that. The one way that I do it, though, is I've got Gabriel in my team. So he could go for Ruben Diaz, and I'd need some money in order to facilitate that move. So I could drop Watkins to Jackson to enable that. That's the only way I do Watkins to Jackson. I don't think just the simple Watkins to Jackson move this week is not worth it. You know, Watkins has got Burnley away. How can you say no to that game, you know? JM, I think I just answered your question with that one. Well, totally spaghetti and beans. I also think it's the game week that separates those that are patient from those that aren't. And patience, in my opinion, is one of the biggest skills in FPL. Oh, and if I don't do the Gabriel and Watkins moves, it's going to be Mubama and Archer. Indeed, Ben. Any City defender who's a starter for sure? None of them, although Diaz is probably 90% to start every game, I would suggest. Gabriel or João Pedro to start? I think I've already answered that question. I start João Pedro. I'm planning Onana to Turner and Gabriel to Diaz. What are your thoughts? Pointless transfer on the goalkeepers. Wouldn't do it. I'd leave them both. Why would you do Onana to Turner? I mean, Onana's got Forest at home and Turner's going away to United. And then I think you should hold Gabriel. I think Gabriel's going to play this week. Eze or Pedro? Pedro. Better fixture. Would you start Gabriel or Colwill this week? Gabriel. More goal threat. People selling Akanji. Yeah, he's good. He's just not the most... He did play a lot of games last season. You could go for him. He just doesn't... With Guardiola in the team, I think Guardiola could make it more difficult for Akanji to play, which is why I say Diaz. Johnson good, yes. Unfortunately, Crystal Palace are lining up Dean Henderson and Man United are looking at a new goalkeeper. So I think along the line, Johnson is going to get phased out for Dean Henderson. Or there'll be competition. And that's not what you want for Johnston. Nah, don't swap your keepers, mate. Just sit on your hands. Promise you, mate. If you just be patient this week, don't do any transfers that are rash like that. Just sit on your hands. Do the yoga pose with me. Be all zenny and chill and not do any transfers. Out of Mbumo, March and Watkins, which two would you start? Oh, man alive. I reckon there are other players in your team that you could bench. There's no way that's your bench decision. I don't believe it. I reckon you've got someone more bench worthy in your team. Yeah. Football del Dion Minuto. The manager literally said in a quote that Ferguson's going to play. Thing is, with the Gabriel 10-minute cameo, I totally get it. But I just feel like the injuries that Arsenal have at the back, Gabriel could play. I think he's got a good chance of starting this week. Definitely long term, he's not a good option because he showed he's the first one to be out when he wants to change things tactically. I would probably start... In my mind, I'd start Turner because I think he's got a better chance of saves bonus. I got rid... And Brighton are looking better than Man United, so I think Brighton could score more goals against West Ham than Man United do against Forest, so I'd go Turner. That's a hard call, though. I got rid for Botman to prepare, fair enough. Salah and Pedro to Foden and Jackson. Keep the 2 free transfers, Greg, don't do it. The others are Saka, Rashford, Foden, Haaland and Jackson. Oh my god, that's so hard. I have no idea, mate. You got to flip a coin on that. Flip a coin. I reckon I would definitely play Mbumo this week. So it's between March and Watkins for who to bench. Shaw to Henry or City defender. I think it's pretty... I think Diaz is the best replacement for Shaw. But it depends on other plans. If you want a bit of cash to make other moves, then bring in Henry. But if you want to maximise points from that one transfer, I'd bring in Diaz. I'm holding on to Gabriel for this game week. Fair enough, football day I'm into. Sometimes Al Sheikh, sorry if I've said your name wrong, my friend. Sometimes you have to take the decision out of your hands and just flip a coin on it. Juntal, 2 free transfers. Should I do Watkins to Jackson and Matuma out and Bumo? Just Watkins to Jackson, and I wouldn't do Watkins to Jackson. That feels like a pointless transfer to me. Watkins has just got Burnley away, and I would not do Watkins to Jackson as my only move this week. I'd wait, personally. I don't think it's worth it. I think there's either other moves to make in your team, and if you really don't have anything to do your 4.5 million striker to Archer, if you don't already have Archer. That's fair enough, GTX. That's what the game's all about, by the way. If you strongly believe that Gabriel won't play, then don't pick him. I believe he will play, so I'm going to go for him. But if that's what you think, mate, the last thing I want to do is influence your decision-making when you seem to have a prediction already. So if that's your prediction, yeah, whatever involves not going for Gabriel, do that, because it makes sense for you and your opinions. Well, Archer's just signed for Sheffield United, and I think on paper, Archer is a better player than Semenyo. I feel almost uniquely qualified to speak about Semenyo because I have a Bristol City season ticket, and that's the team that sold Semenyo to Bournemouth. And Archer will be playing as the centre forward for Sheffield United. He probably takes the penalties, and is that a club record fee? Probably. Semenyo, he's pretty much, I think he's going to start for Bournemouth now. He's not the best finisher in the world. He won't take the penalties, and his place just won't be as secure, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, it's between the two, really. I think Archer's probably the stronger of the two now, personally. But yeah, I would personally, if you've got no transfer to make and a 4.5 million striker that's Boombama or the Luton bloke or whatever, I'd swap them to Semenyo or Archer as the transfers. Same starting 11 as me, except Saliba. What would you do with my team? Yeah, I think, no, I wouldn't get rid of Gabriel, mate. It seems pointless. I think Gabriel's going to play, personally. If you want my opinion, I would do the 4.5 million striker swap, or maybe the 4 million defender swap. Like, if you've got Bulldog, I reckon there's a better 4 million defender than him. Yeah, I agree with you, Bobby. I think it will be the normal Arsenal team. I disagree on Diaz. I think Diaz, there's less risk on Diaz. Anyone but Diaz, I'd agree. But then you've got the amazing fixtures for Man City, and the fact they could probably keep literally 5 clean sheets in a row. They haven't conceded a goal yet, have they? Should I do Pickford to Sanchez? Not while he's about to play Wolves at home. Over the long term, yes, but Pickford's got Wolves at home. I think that's a good fixture. I'd keep him. Chilwell and Estupinian nailed. What to do with both Stones and Gabriel? I think Gabriel will start, if you want my opinion, mate. Edison is the most nailed, but he's goalkeeper. I think that's what I was saying. Thoughts on Gusto? And Edison got dropped last season as well, so... No, you can only have 2 JM. That's what I'm saying. Like, if there's no obvious transfer, maybe just swap in someone on your bench for someone preferred. Udoji or Henry? Definitely Henry. What are your transfers this week? So, well, I'm a bit stuck. I'm stuck, mate, if I'm honest. It's Gabriel to Diaz and Watkins to Jackson. That's what I could do. Or I literally keep my team as it is and swap Mubama just to use a transfer. Just do a 4.5 million striker transfer because Mubama's not playing. Semenyo is, and Archer is just signed for Sheffield United for a club record fee. So I could bring one of those two in. I like Gusto, but I mean, I'm just not blown away by him. Maybe I could do Bulldog to Gusto. That could be the move. And then I'd start Gusto instead of Gabriel in future weeks. But no, I don't fancy. I like Foden, but I can't. Who do I bring him in for? Who on that team do I bring him in for? Look at the fixtures that my midfield has. I can't justify bringing Foden in for that lot. Nope, wouldn't do Martinelli to Odegaard this week. I'd wait for Martinelli to not be in the team before I did that. Jackson or Wissa, it depends on your long-term plans. I think player versus player, Jackson is probably better. I know Jackson hasn't scored yet and Wissa has, but I think on paper Jackson is better. Why would I do Martinelli to Foden when he's about to play Fulham at home? Literally the worst defence in the league at the moment. I don't think it's worth it in my opinion, Lee. Jackson or Wissa question. Depends. If you need cash, go Wissa. If you don't, go Jackson. That would be my view. I'd definitely look to sell Rashford, but Bruno's underlying numbers have been really good. And even then, if they don't do well against Forest, I still kind of have a feeling that they'll do all right. The underlying numbers they've been putting up have been all right. That's terrible, Alfie, but I can imagine you're joking there. I think there's so much to be gained in FPL. Did I just say no, I thought I just said Gabriel to Ruben Diaz. My defender Gabriel to Ruben Diaz, mate. Sorry if there was confusion. Yeah, I feel there's so much to be gained by keeping the faith in most of the players you've got and not doing anything rash. That'd be my view. That's my overarching thoughts this game week. That's all right, Lee. It's all good. I don't know if I was making sense. I've been at work all day, and then I go live straight after that. I've been to the gym as well, so I'm getting a bit tired. So if I've misspoken, I can only apologise. And have a quick look at Twitter if that's all right. See if we've got any news. No, I agree. I agree that Bruno is better than Rashford. He's always just got the penalties to back him up, and he plays every game for 90 minutes. You just can't doubt him, in my opinion. Oh, blimey. Attack is Haaland, Jackson, Alvarez. Mid is Saka, Odegaard and Bumo, Mitoma. Bruno is on my bench. Do I keep him on my bench or drop one of my attackers or midfielders for them? If so, which one and why? Probably Mitoma. I'd probably drop Mitoma because the rest of them are all penalty takers. I'd probably drop Mitoma. I have Rashford. Now I think Bruno is a better option, but I don't want to waste. Yeah, I've already read that one. I agree. Mr. Blanky, good to see you, mate. Pickford, Saliba, Estupinian, Chilwell, Rashford, Bruno, Mitoma, Saka, Odegaard, Haaland, Watkins. I suggest... Oh, man alive. Have you got anything in the bank, Jintal? Because there is literally nothing, in my opinion, that you can do to improve that team. Like, if I was to pick an 11 for this week, maybe barring Pickford, maybe Pickford to Sanchez is the move, Chantal. Maybe Pickford to Sanchez is the move. Knowing the full context of your team, I'd probably do Pickford to Sanchez. But even then, it's tough, right? I'd say if I had Sanchez in goal, that's literally the best team you can possibly pick for this week, in my opinion. I'd probably prefer Mbumo to Mitoma as well, but I can't say that's worth a transfer. I think Pickford to Sanchez is probably worth a transfer, though. When is the press conference? Which press conference are you after? There's been quite a few press conferences today. I think the press conference, yeah, there's been quite a few pressers today already. Yeah, I reckon that's what I do, Jintao. Still really unsure what to do with my team, though. It's like stick or twist time, isn't it? I would bench Henry and Gusto. Just because I favour the midfielders. No, I think fixtures impact every team, mate. I think getting rid of João Pedro after this game week is decent. I would start João Pedro this game week over Colwill. Colwill's realistically only going to get you points from a clean sheet, whereas Pedro could score from open play, could get an assist, or could score a penalty. So I like Pedro. Imagine Gabriel. Yeah, I know. I'm willing to take that risk. Sanchez or Flecken? Oh, Rob Sanchez. Definitely. Long term as well. Flecken. I don't know if anyone's seen clips of Flecken. I'll show you. Actually, no, I'd probably get done for copyright if I did. Basically, you have to Google Flecken mistakes in the Bundesliga and then come back to me and tell me that you want Flecken in your team. I don't like it, Lee. I don't like it, mate. I'm afraid. That's personally my opinion. I don't like it. I just wouldn't sell Rashford and Martinelli when they've got Nottingham Forest and Fulham at home. I just wouldn't do it. I feel like you're chasing points there, and the players you're selling could quite easily outscore the players you're buying. That'd be my thoughts on those moves. But hey, you do it your way. And obviously, making 3 transfers like that, you'll be taking hits. Is that a -4 or a -8? I definitely wouldn't take it. I wouldn't be taking hits for players. You know, your original set of, well, Rashford and Martinelli could outscore them. I'm personally doing a 4.5 million striker swap. I'm doing Mubama to Archer. Or I could do Bulldog to Gusto. Has Gusto gone up in price yet? Is he still 4 million? BZ, good to have you in the chat, my friend. Gusto is still 4 million. So he could be a transfer in too. It could be Bulldog to Gusto, actually. I could do that. And then just leave the team. Put Gusto like first on my bench. In no way, shape or form, BZ, have I finalised my team. I have no idea what I'm going to do yet. Who do I think is the best goalkeeper? I really still like Onana. I really do. Man United had the goal, got the Golden Glove level of clean sheets last season. And even though he conceded against Tottenham, he still got the saves bonus. So I think Onana is still the best goalkeeper in the game. I really do. Have you finalised your team? So on that, mate, I could do Gabriel to Diaz, Watkins to Jackson, or I could do Bulldog to Gusto and just have him on my bench, or I could do Mubama to Archer, who's obviously just signed for Sheffield United. And then it would mean I've got a better bench option than what I did before. Jintao, I wouldn't sell Watkins. Like I was saying, I think you should do Pickford to Rob Sanchez based on the team you told me. I would not sell Watkins for Jackson. Just that move this game week. You could justify it if you need to free up funds for another transfer like I'm doing. But I don't think a straight Watkins to Jackson swap is in any way worth it this game week. I just don't think that's a good move at all. I'm sure there are people in the chat that'll either back me up or hate on me, but that's what I think. I think sell Watkins this week at your peril. And even if I did Watkins to Jackson this week, I'd be terrified of doing it. Even though he's off penalties, I still feel like Watkins is a good striker option. And there's a shortage of good strikers in FPL at the moment. There's 4 basically, in my opinion. Haaland, Watkins, Jackson, João Pedro. Not really anyone else. On Wissa, of course. But yeah, there's not really many moves, big moves like that I'd make. Excuse me. What about Alvarez? Not nailed enough for me. Pick him at your peril as well. Watkins, Jackson, Haaland, you'd be living the dream. That's very good. If by the way, if anyone wants to, I'm gonna blatantly steal FPL Tom's idea. So if you just go here a second, FPL MFZ, I was literally about to suggest this. Golden Goal FF on Twitter. See it? Oh, I'm pointing because it's mirrored. There you go. How do I do it? It's like that, isn't it? There you go. Golden Goal FF on Twitter. Tweet me your team, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know what you should do with it. How about that? Tweet me your team. Bruno to Mbumo. Oh man, risky. A lot of other people going live. As the Burnley predicted lineup, Watkins 100% to start. I just don't think you can't sell Watkins this week unless it's to free up another move, can you? Just someone tweeting me their team. Lovely teammate. I like it very much. We've got pretty much player for player the same team, except I have Mbumo, you have Foden. I have Watkins, you have Jackson. It's a lovely team. All good, pal. Cheers, MFZ, for sending me your team. Yeah, Ben, you really do have a chance. All I would say, tips for fan team, is really just to hold your nerve. Don't make knee-jerky transfers, especially because the transfers accumulate. So whilst you only have 2 wildcards across the season, I'm pretty sure it's 2, if you bank your transfers correctly, you can literally give yourself 4 wildcards across the season. If you give yourself how many transfers realistically do you make on a wildcard? 5 or 6? So if you bank 5 or 6 transfers, you got a wildcard. So 4 in a season. That's, in my opinion, the best way to play fan team. Unless you've got an injury or a player is doing really, really terribly, then that's really the only time I would make transfers. Yeah, I think you've got a great chance, mate. If you're 3k already, you'll be doing fantastic. Christopher C, it's good to have you, mate. It's good to have you in the chat. Best time to do a wildcard, mate, is basically when there's a massive fixture swing. So I think going into game week 8, Liverpool's fixtures get really, really good. So someone like Trent could be an option at that time. And then it's just when you're really, really unhappy with your team. Like if you've got loads of injuries or, your players just really aren't performing and have been doing so, for more than a couple of weeks. That's probably the time when you can hit the button. But yeah, like I said, if you imagine it as having 4 wildcards a season in fan team, because you can keep banking your transfers, that's a good way to go. I think Kulu is a bargain, I'd agree. I'd also think Estupinian is just ridiculously underpriced in FPL. Bruno Fernandes, I think, will be a really good option in there too, as is Mbumo. I think Mbumo is brilliant in fan team as well. Thoughts on captaining Chilwell? It's definitely bold. I'll show you the Draft Hound top players for expected points. It's a Haaland week for me this week, mate. I like the idea of a bench boost this week, Christopher. I think bench boost could work out quite well for you. I think Turner is going to concede, no doubt about it. But if he could get you some saves bonus, that'll be all right. Estupinian, Colwell and Pedro could do really well this week, I'd agree. I think that's a good opportunity for a bench boost, personally. Tubby, yeah, we literally do have the same team. I mean, player for player, we're the same. You probably have a different bench to me if you shared me your bench. Yeah, I mean, Tubby, if you're in the chat, mate, let me know what you're thinking. But I imagine it's very similar to me. Could get rid of Gabriel for Diaz. Could sell Watkins for Jackson to allow it. But I mean, ultimately, yeah. Alfie, I really like that team. Who have you got on the bench? Yeah, GH, just tweet me at Golden Goal FF on Twitter. There. It's a really nice team. Can't knock it, mate. I have no idea how to say your name. Pickford, ooh, blimey, 4-5-1. It's rare you see that. I would start João Pedro over a Doji. Oh, Beezy, is this you on Twitter then? I'll give you a follow if that's you, Beezy. Yes, it is. You said you came from Canada. I'm giving you a follow, bro. There you go. Yeah, I like the team. I would just start Pedro over Udogie, I think. Where's your pitch gone? Where's his pitch gone? I'd start Pickford over Turner, mate. Definitely. Wolves at home compared to Man United away. I mean, definitely start Pickford. I'd by far and away go Haaland captain as well. You got Sheffield United away versus Newcastle away. For me, it's absolutely obvious that Haaland is a better captain. I would also probably start Walker over Gabriel too. Because I think Walker's... Oh, no, I'd start Gabriel over Walker. Scratch that one. But yeah, the one thing I'd do is captain Haaland. FPL Joss is a serious FPL player. 16, played 6 years, very football heavy. Hope you like I make FPL content too. Just unwell to stream. Oh, I'm sorry to hear you're not very well, mate. Oh, I would. Pedro for Jackson is a good move, BZ, but I would do it next week. Because what's Brighton's fixture next week? Yeah, Newcastle. So I would keep Pedro. Obviously, I know I'm looking at Stupinian, but they play for the same team. I would keep Pedro for West Ham. Wouldn't make the transfer. Next week, I'd go for Jackson. Because Brighton have got Newcastle. Chelsea got Forest. So for me, that's the time to do it. Richarlison is not doing good. May transfer him out, although he has good games. He does have good games. And I feel like... I mean, what did you expect when you bought Richarlison? That would be my point. Like, you obviously saw something. Transfer plan, Jantel. I've said this about five or six times now, but it's helping me, to be honest, so I'll happily say it again. So, I've got 3 options. I do Gabriel, because I've got 2 free transfers, right? So I have to, in my opinion, I have to make a move in some way that benefits my team. And there's a move somewhere here that does. So I do Gabriel to Diaz and Watkins to Jackson. I have to do those 2 moves because I need to drop Watkins to Jackson to enable the money. So that could be an option. And then obviously I get Ruben Diaz for the fantastic Man City run of the outfield Man City defenders. He's the most likely to play. Watkins to Jackson feels like literally a sideways move. They're pretty equal, in my opinion, this week for points. I certainly wouldn't. If it was the only move I was making, I wouldn't do Watkins to Jackson. The other moves, I could do Mubama to Semenyo, who's playing for Bournemouth at the moment, and then I get a 4.5 million striker that's playing. I could also do Cameron Archer, who's just signed from Villa to Sheffield United, who's probably going to start. Or I could do Baldock to Gusto of Chelsea. Those are the moves that I could do. It is, but Watkins has got Burnley away, and if that's the decision you've got to make. You know, Watkins has got Burnley away, Pedro's got West Ham at home. Like, those are good fixtures. I just don't see the sideways move being worth it. Yeah, I completely agree, Christopher. It's a good week to keep hold of him, and we don't yet know who the Spurs penalty taker is because they haven't had a penalty yet. Would you consider Gabriel to Henry? Yeah, I would. I wouldn't do it this week, though. I think Gabriel's got a game in him this week, and then we look to get rid afterwards. What's his next game? Man United. So, yeah, Gabriel, play him v Fulham, then sell him next week would be my opinion. I think someone's just tweeted me a team. Thank you for following me. I appreciate that. Start Cash or Udoji? I haven't got I'd start Cash. Rashford or Bruno to Foden, wouldn't sell any of them. I'd keep them. Bench boost button maybe clicked. I would bench boost, personally, Christopher, if I was you, with that bench you told me about. I agree, Chelsea might smash Luton tonight. Jackson hat-trick would... Well, I've got him in my Sky team, at least. You got any Sky players in here? Want to see my Sky team? I can quickly flash that up for you. I'll just go onto my full screen. GH Gaming, I appreciate that, mate. You're very welcome. That's what I'm here for. I don't... hopefully, like, the way that I offer advice is useful as well, because I give my opinion, but I also try to allow players to think for themselves, because, I mean, that's what it's all about. What was I looking at? I've completely lost my train of thought now. Bench boost. What was I looking at? Oh, I can't remember now. Lost my train of thought. Someone in the chat might be able to help me. Points, I had 49, I think, mate. Says it there. Oh, thanks. I'm glad my advice isn't useless. I'm just going to blow my nose again. 2 secs. I've just remembered I was going to pull up my Sky team. But I don't think we've got any Sky players in here at the moment. Be wasted on you lot. You don't play... Most of you guys probably don't play Sky. Let's go back to FPL then. Let's not worry about Sky. Christopher plays Sky? Oh, we'll have a look then, shall we? Let's have a look. I'll just go to the clean sheet odds quickly. Here are the clean sheet odds for the week as a percentage. Just while I log into Sky. I don't want you to see my login. That's why I'll change the screen. So we're looking in Sky at the moment. Don't see any reasons to be making transfers to this team either, really. 1.5 million in the bank. I just can't justify a transfer. Yes, Rodri could be an option, but would I sell Watkins with Burnley away on the same day? I don't think I can justify it. They play on the same day as City every day, which is really annoying. Or after City, even. Captains, I'm on Nicholas Jackson today. Saka tomorrow. Haaland Sunday. Oh, it's just obvious, isn't it? I've used 3 transfers as well. Lol. Somehow... Oh, I've got Fernandes as captain. We don't want that. 2 identical teams is the way to go. This team had Salah captain at the weekend, just gone. Level A, I would captain Haaland. If not Haaland, probably Saka. So, Louis, the way I'm doing it this week, because I'm in the same position where I can burn one, I reckon you go, if you've got a 4 million defender, you use the transfer to get Gusto in. If you've got a 4.5 million striker, you use that transfer to go for Archer or Semenyo. That's what I do with those, with a transfer that I wanted to get rid of. I wouldn't be making any changes to your first team if you're looking to burn one, because it's your first team. And if you're not wanting to use a transfer, why use one on your first team? That'd be my logic. Yeah, let me know what you think of that. Oh, excuse me. Bit tired. It's been a long day, innit? These Friday deadlines, they're hardcore for streaming. You do a full day of work, then you hop on a live stream for 2.5 hours. It's a bit tiring. I still think Pedro's a better option than Ferguson because he's got the penalties. Richarlison's getting benched. Fair enough. I think him and Walker are probably quite close, to be fair. Let's see if you've got any news. Oh. FPL Mate's gone live. I think of the actual players that are on my chopping block, I think Martinelli could be like the one long term that I want to get rid of as well. FF Scout Neil. Ah, yeah. Someone said that in this chat already. The fact that he didn't explicitly mention that Pedro was in the 11, but he did mention that Ferguson was. Was Ferguson in this starting 11 last week as well? Or is he... Yeah, interesting. Tomorrow, Ferguson plays in the first 11. We have no other team news. That's all he said. I don't think you should read too much into that. If Enciso started last week and he's injured and they don't have any other team news, I just wouldn't read too much into that. I think Pedro would play. So unlucky, Christopher. Yeah, I remember that. It's just unlucky, mate. It's just unlucky. That's what the game throws, that kind of crap at you sometimes, unfortunately. I would probably do Flecken to... Oh, no. Shaw to Diaz, definitely. Then you give yourself a bit of a benching headache. Or you could do Flecken to Sanchez. I think long term of the 4.5 million keepers, Sanchez is the best. That would be my opinion. I am going to take a 2-minute break in a second. Oh, I can feel myself fading. So I'm going to make a quick coffee and grab a granola bar as well. But I'll stay on the stream for a couple more minutes. Might be able to take you with me. How about that? Might be able to take you on the journey with me. But I think that might muck up my laptop, changing screens and stuff. But I could take you into my kitchen to make a coffee with me. That'd be sweet, wouldn't it? Yeah, Vishal, I think I do Flecken to Sanchez in that position. It doesn't feel ideal, but yeah, I think that's the way to go. What do you make of that tweet then, Bobby, if you're saying it could be interesting? I'm saying don't read too much into it. But what are you thinking? Well, I think for me, regardless if I was a Pedro owner, this would be probably the final week I'd be happy to have him. I have been asked this so much, Cal. I don't like it. if it's just that move you're making and you're not doing it to free up cash for another move, I hate it, to be honest. I just don't. It's just pointless. It's a pointless move because they're evens. Next week it could make sense, but if you're doing it to enable another move, then I think it does make sense. But if you're just doing that one single move, I wouldn't bother. Should I start Colwill, Bruno, or Martinelli? Bruno, definitely. I'd start Bruno and Martinelli. There must be someone else you should bench. You can bench from that lot. Oh, should I start Colwill for Bruno or Martinelli? Sorry, your chat was hidden by a sign I had. I wouldn't. I'd start Bruno and Martinelli over Colwill. I'd agree, Bobby. I'd play João Pedro. Yeah, agree, spaghetti and beans. I've got Baldock, and I reckon that's going to be the move that I make. I'm sort of warming up to it. It's that, or I do Mubama to Semenyo or Archer. I mean, that's literally going to be my move. It feels very dead, doesn't it? But what else can I do? Like, I think Gabriel will play. And if he doesn't play this week, then I've got 2 free transfers next week to do Diaz and Jackson in for Gabriel and Watkins. No, I'm not certain Gabriel starts Cal at all. But there is an account, Jump the Wave on Twitter, who has a team of 20 Arsenal fans that do lineup predictions. And 87% of them say that Gabriel is going to start. So that's enough to stop me from selling him this week. He's got Man United next, so I think I could quite comfortably sell Gabriel next week. But this week, I think I'm going to persist with him one more week. I think Baldock to Gusto is going to be the move. But I'm not going to do it until a bit later on because we might get some info. You never know. Would I start Gabriel over Guardiola? I'd flip a coin on it, mate. That's what I would do. Yeah, what this guy said. I'm just going to crack the kettle on. I'll be 30 seconds. Up the Nature Valley, boys. Up the Nature Valley. Bench Awoniyi or Eze? Probably Awoniyi with Man United. As much as I love Awoniyi, I love Eze too. I love them equally. Pedro out for Jackson or Gabriel out? I'd probably do Richarlison for Foden of that lot. Akanji or Guardiola? Flip a coin, mate. Flip a coin. Genuinely, I think they're even. I think they're pretty even. Go back to my team. Sorry, I've just got a kettle boiling, so I'm just going to quickly do a coffee. Do I bench Udogie, White, or Diaby? Udogie of that lot. I think Arsenal do really well. I think Diaby does all right. I'd bench Udogie. Thinking of going Pedro to Jackson and Shaw to Colwill/Guardiola to finance the first transfer. Thoughts? Not this week. I'd get rid of Shaw if you've got to start him, but I wouldn't do Pedro to Jackson this week. I would just wait. I'd hold him for another week, then do it next week. Just don't think there's much between them. We don't know if Jackson's on penalties. We know that Pedro is on penalties. Like, I just do it this week. I'd do it next week. But I would sell Shaw this week if you feel comfortable doing so. I'll be 30 more seconds. I'm just going to pour myself a coffee. Won't be long. We're switching the mugs up today, lads. Oh, usually I have a golden gold branded mug, which you can find in the description, I think, of this video. But today I've got a mug from my childhood that I got from an Easter egg when I was like 5 years old. Got the big Homer Simpson mug, which is where 3 steps of eating a cookie. You can't see that side. You lift it, you open your mouth, and then you eat it. Those are the 3 steps. It's massive, by the way. Look at it compared to my head. It's like you have it in the winter with a massive cup of tea in it. Like, just warmed you up. And it gives me nostalgic vibes of childhood, you know? You're expecting 70 points. That's huge. Sorry. I know it's a bit rude to eat on stream, but I'm just going to quickly munch on a Nature Valley bar, if that's all right. I need the energy. I hope you guys can understand. I've been at work all day, so. They're very crumbly, though, these things, aren't they? I'm going to make a mess. Salah and Pedro to 1 of Mbumo, Foden, and no. I wouldn't do that. Salah's literally like the best midfielder in the game, in my opinion. And Pedro's on penalties for Brighton. And he's probably going to play because Enciso's injured, so. And even if Pedro doesn't start, I feel like he could come on and do really well. That would be my thoughts. Christopher, if Luton score, you're in trouble. But, I mean, if they don't, it's 18 points, isn't it? What do we reckon? Is Christopher getting 3 clean sheets from those 3 Chelsea players, or are Chelsea going to concede? I guess, because we were talking, weren't we, about bringing Gusto in. I guess the question is, how long does Gusto remain an option? Like, how long? Because there's 2 factors to that as well, I guess. One is, how long is Reece James out? Because he's obviously the slide-in replacement for Reece James. And number 2 is, how long is he going to play well enough to stay the Reece James replacement? It's lots of questions, you know? Didn't ask me this earlier, and I didn't do it. So he wants to see my wildcard team. Right, let's do it. My wildcard team, if I had a wildcard this week. Oh, what's going on? Draft Hound's not playing ball. We keep having this issue. Well, I'm going Sanchez in goal. First of all, I think he's the best now of the 4.5 million goalkeepers. So he's in net. He's my captain currently. Totally agree, by the way, Christopher. Totally agree. I'll go, even though I've bigged up Watkins, I'm going to go Jackson because he's $1 million cheaper. I'm probably going to say Diaz too. The midfield, would I change much? Probably not, you know. Probably not. I really, this is Draft Hound. There's a link in the description, by the way. Good to see you, NCK Footy. We're currently building my wildcard team. Got 0.8 in the bank. Good to see you too, brother. Felt like Hulk Hogan there. Good to see you too, brother. I don't know if that was a good Hulk Hogan impression or not. NCK Footy, if you tweet me your team, you should have my Twitter already. Tweet me your team and I'll talk about it, mate. We get Odegaard, you know. Can I afford that? Boom. I don't think they've added, unfortunately, they have added the feature where I can look at people's teams, but they haven't done it in a way that I can do it on like a full screen view. It's really quite challenging. If I had a wild card, I know Man United haven't got off to the best start. If I had a wild card, that would be the team, I think. Yeah, the one player in here, Christopher, that I think could be a bit doubtful is Rashford. Who would I bench? I'm going to let the chat decide that one. I think it's 50-50. I think both are probably as likely to score as one another. I reckon the chat should let you know that one, Dylan. I'm not convinced on either, Christopher. Certainly not convinced on Rashford. I'm always convinced on Bruno Fernandes because all he needs is a penalty. Yep, Christopher's answered. I'd probably agree with him. I'd probably agree with him, to be honest. That's a good point that he makes. That's, Palace are decent defensively. And obviously, with the wildcard team, I wouldn't have Sanchez as my captain. I'd have Haaland. I'd bench Udogie. Start Henry or Udogie. Ooh. Again, I'd go to the chat for that one. I think it's 50-50. I really can't decide between the two. Henry or Udogie. What does the chat think? You got, 20 people watching the stream at the moment? Let me know. 20 people's opinions are better than mine, I imagine. Chris Gray, if you're looking for a Man City defender, I reckon the best one is Ruben Diaz. Christopher, you make a really good point. And one thing I will say about Man United as well. Oh, we're on FB ref. I'll show you Bruno's stats last season. So Bruno Fernandes, I think his expected assists last season, I think he had 16.9 expected assists. 16.9 expected assists last season. He only managed 9. And that's obviously because they didn't have a centre forward, like an out-and-out striker. Yeah, so here's Bruno's stats. Hopefully you can read that with the quality of the stream. Yeah, Diaz's injury was a concussion injury from training. And he's back fit now. So I think he's all good. So yeah, Bruno got, there you go, 8 assists last season. And then his expected numbers, he had 16.7 expected assists. And I think that was pretty much down to the fact that they didn't have their course playing up front most of the season, didn't they? So he didn't have someone that could finish the chances he was creating. Yeah, I don't mind it. I'd like to see how he gets on. I think he's a great signing for Man United, both for short and long term. But I'd like to see how he starts off before. I wouldn't pile in on him as soon as he plays. To be honest, I think he could play this weekend. At least get in off the bench. I don't mind Guardiola. You know, a lot of people making the argument that he's the most expensive defender in the world, and that means he's probably going to play. I literally made that argument in a video as well, so I'm not saying I'm innocent from that. But I don't think in a Pep Guardiola team that necessarily means you're nailed to start every week. Whereas Diaz, I just think he's the man in that Man City defence, right? He is the #1 defender in that team, in my opinion. So if I were to pick a Man City defender, I'd spend the extra 0.5 on Diaz. And Diaz, his goal threat's not too shabby. And the thing is, as soon as Højlund gets in that Man United team, I think it immediately makes Rashford better as well. Because as a Man United fan, you probably agree with me that Rashford is he's a left-sided forward. He's not like a left winger on the touchline left winger. He cuts inside and shoots. But he's better coming in off the left rather than being up front. So as soon as Højlund, or even if Martial plays this weekend, I think it immediately makes Rashford a better option. So that's why people are big on selling him. I don't think Rashford has been terrible. I just don't think he's a number 9. That's the whole thing with him. Benches Wissa, Henry and Botman. Oh man, that's tough. I would play Wissa this week if I had the choice, I think. Anyone tweeted me their team recently? No. By the way, if you want your team looked at, I think that should be the right screen. Bang. Golden Goal FF on Twitter. Tweet me your team. I'll talk about it. I won't be that harsh, I promise. Cheers, everyone, by the way. Cheers to Game Week 3 in my Homer Simpson mug. You can probably tell I've got some caffeine in me now. I've energised up a little bit. I agree, Chris Gray. That's what I'm saying. I'm waiting and seeing on him. What about my draft team? Have you sent me your draft team as well? I mean, you can send me your draft team if you want. Start Udogie or Henry. Ooh. Go back to the screen share now. I'm thinking. Sorry, I'm really sorry, Mr. Blanky, but the feature to do that's not available in Draft Hand at the moment. I might have to type it out. Apologies, mate. Is it Oshin? Is that how you say that name? If I get that right, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't know the answer to that question. I think they're both pretty even, if I'm honest. So I'd give it to the chat. I was a FIFA man up until about 2 years ago, Bobby. Oshin, yeah. I was a FIFA man up until about 10. Ushin. My bad. Close. I don't like mispronouncing people's names. I feel it's really rude, especially when they tell you what their name is actually correctly said. So I'll try and remember that for you for the future. Yeah, I used to play FIFA up until about 2 years ago, and then I started my YouTube channel, and I felt like it would be a healthy habit rather than just mindlessly playing FIFA. Every time I had free time and fancy playing FIFA, I'd chip away at a bit of work for my YouTube channel instead. So I've really not played FIFA too much. But I know about the game, obviously, and all the... It's a terrible game, let's be honest. I mean, the amount of just broken stuff is horrendous. There's another Udogie or Henry question as well. What does the chat think? Yeah, let me know what you want to say about FIFA. I think, Yogesh, that the point you're making there, it tempted me to do a tweet this morning where I was like, the pool of pickable players in FPL at the moment is so small. Like the circle of players that we've been talking about in this chat, it's probably like 20. That's it. You got a squad of 15. There's probably 20 players that I'd want to pick for at the moment. GH Gaming, he's multitasking, this geezer. Got that dopamine coming from left, right, and centre. It's a decent draft team, mate. You've clearly got a number. You've got a lot of. There's clearly a lot of players in your draft because you don't have any of the big boys. Have to let me know who's free. I'd get rid of... I probably wouldn't get rid of any of those, to be honest. Depends who's left free. Good idea. Good idea, Christopher. My answer to that is flip a coin. I'm going to tweet that then. I don't like Tonali. He's too defensive for me. Oliver Ray, personally, I would keep Gabriel, especially this week with Fulham. I think he's got a good chance of potentially scoring. Ake or Akanji are not nailed enough for me to consider selling Gabriel for them. Personally, I think you keep Gabriel this week. If you used the transfer last week, that means you will have 2 free transfers next week to deal with Gabriel, potentially downgrade elsewhere in order to upgrade Gabriel to Diaz. I think the 2 best replacements for Gabriel, in my opinion, are Diaz. He's obviously more expensive, so you have to do something in order to get him in. Or Rico Henry. I would not recommend Ake or Akanji. I just feel like with the addition of Guardiola to the City squad, it just makes it so difficult. So difficult to predict who's going to play. Hey mate, spaghetti and beans, I'm not saying the coin's always right, it just makes a decision for you. The last thing you want to do is expend massive mental energy on decisions that it's not possible to decide upon. Christopher C, you take pay in coffees or coffee or cookies? Well, we'll have to see on that one. I feel like in order for payment, actually no, you have made a good suggestion, to be fair. I'll consider it, mate. Send me your CV. Dylan Cole, I think if I were to move on Pickford, Wolves at home is a fixture he could probably keep a clean sheet in, number 1. Number 2, I think it's Rob Sanchez. With the fixtures that Chelsea have, the fact he's 4.5 million, I don't believe they're in the market for another goalkeeper. I'd go Rob Sanchez. Leo Griffith, you can roast me for this, I follow 2 teams. I live in Bristol, quite close to the Bristol City ground. So I am a Bristol City season ticket holder. That's a Robin, the Bristol City badge. And I follow Man United for my sins as well. That's true, Bobby. If you play Sky Christopher C, you need to get in my Sky Mini League because the prize for winning that is, you'll get a mug, a golden gold branded mug and a packet of biscuits of your choice. The closest non-league team to where I live. Well, the closest team, literally the closest team to where I live is Bristol City. And they're not long league. Don't know, I mean... non-league team to where I live. I wouldn't want to say that because I feel like it gives away exactly where I live if I were to tell you that answer. So I'm not going to. There is a non-league team that would literally tell you where I live. Like my address to the nearest 10 houses. So I'd rather not say that. You probably work out, someone could probably be devious. You can quite easily work out where anyone lives just if you find their name on Twitter, can't you? Do the Sky League code you wanted. Let's give you that. If it logs me in automatically, great, but it probably won't. Oh, there we go. Hopefully you can still join it. I can't remember when the last time is, but there's the league, mate. True, but I'm not sure I want double Chelsea defence. Yeah, but Chelsea with the run they've got, mate, I don't think it's too bad at all. Well, the hype and buzz around Jackson. I think he's a good option. The hype and buzz is he's got a fantastic run of fixtures. And I know he's not scored yet for Chelsea, but in my opinion, he's passed the eye test. I think he's looked really good. Nathan Broadhead. I'm afraid I don't know who that is. I think you can, Christopher C. I think you can. I can't remember what I set it as. I can't answer that question off the top of my head. Nathan Broadhead. Let's see this dude. Fair enough. He's a year younger than me. I can't say I've heard of him. There's obviously so many football players. Bench Udoji. Oh, mate, you got bench Udoji there. Come on. Onana's in pyjamas. Brilliant. Custard Cream FC. It's always going to be my team name. I don't think I can ever leave it. And then the Sky might be teams called Chocolate Digestive FC because, of course, why wouldn't you name it after the best biscuit in the world? Bench Colwell or Henry. Oh, that's also really tough. God, that's such a 50-50. That's such a 50-50. I'm just doing a tweet. Other biscuits are available, of course. Sound like the BBC. Can't advertise. Other biscuits are available, but I would have to say, Chris, that chocolate digestives and custard creams are my two favourite. Any good 6 million forwards? Yeah, João Pedro, Wissa. Thank you, FPL Tiger. You too, mate. Dylan Hudson, I'm just doing this tweet and then we'll have some team news. There's a tweet I'm going to show you about that, Christopher C. If there are any other common questions that have been asked on the stream, let me know, because I'm just going to tweet them out. Jammy Dodgers. I'm not a big fan of jam, mate. Need to add some emojis, don't I? Where's the thinking emoji? There we go. Actually, no, we want a question mark. We want the question mark emoji. Jaffa cakes. I'm not a fan of jam, so I can't say I massively like Jammy Dodgers or Jaffa cakes. I'm a bit more of a. I know obviously all biscuits are sweet, but I prefer a bit more of a savoury man myself for like eating volume anyway. Like I could have a whole pack of custard creams. I think I'd be sick after about 4 Jammy Dodgers. Digestive's clear. Oh, now I tell you what, actually, one of the best biscuits that I've been loving recently, Lotus Biscoff. And whenever I go to a restaurant and they have a Lotus Biscoff cheesecake as an option, that's like, other than creme brulee, and I quite like tiramisu now. I had a tiramisu during my week of working away, and I really enjoyed my tiramisu. God, man, they're so good. Bourbon's better than custard creams. The Lotus McFlurry. Oh man, I can't. That Lotus McFlurry is like diabetes in a cup, isn't it? But they sound really good. Dame cheesecake from IKEA. I've never had one of those, to be fair. The thing is, if I have a Biscoff milkshake, it's game over for me. I'm becoming morbidly obese in like a month. If that happens to me, I'm having them every day. So I'm trying to stay away from those. I feel like they could be insane. I didn't answer insane figure wrestling. I didn't because I think it's genuinely a coin flip. Excuse me, folks. If you have a coin, get it out. Heads is Colwill, tails is Henry, and then that's my decision. Were there any other questions? This is where you earn your money as my assistant, Christopher. Any other questions? One of them was João Pedro, wasn't it? Definitely not this week with West Ham at home and Ciso injury and on pens. Yeah, some reason Udoji versus Henry. I don't know the answer to it though. Genuinely, my answer is flip a coin, isn't it? Start Udoji or Henry. That'd be my advice. Get a coin and flip it. I reckon Issy Raf, if that's how you correctly pronounce it. Apologies if I've butchered it. I reckon there's another move you can make. So rather than burning one, I reckon you go... So there's two options for you. You do Gusto for Bulldog. Or Gusto for whoever's your 4 million defender. Or if you've got a 4.5 million striker, you bring in Archer or Semenyo for them. And if you can't do either of those moves, I'd burn it, personally. I just don't think Watkins to Jackson is worth it. I don't think it gains you any points this week. I think my brain and most of the algorithms actually have Watkins ahead in terms of expected points. But for me, I think it's completely down the middle even this week. There's no point doing Watkins to Jackson this week, in my opinion. Kabore, Watkins and Connolly to Pedro, Alvarez and Gusto and a bench bar. Not sure about that, mate. I wouldn't be taking hits when you've got a team that you're probably happy with. Also, just going back to the food comments, now I've done my tweet, I can concentrate again. I have never had a Five Guys in my life, right? So, interestingly, one of the first dates that I had with my girlfriend, we were looking for somewhere to eat, and we decided on having a Five Guys. And I went to the screen to do our order. I sounded really poor. Well, no, that's not the right way of saying it. I probably should have spent the money, but we totted up our like prices. So I had a cheeseburger and chips and a Coke, and my girlfriend had like a burger and chips or something. And we were like, "Oh, we'll share a drink; it'll be fine." It was 40 quid. 40 quid for 2 burgers and two like portions of fries. I was like, I'm not paying 40 quid for 2 burgers. So I've never had a Five Guys based on that. I would consider having a Five Guys if it was with work and paid by expenses. That's obviously an option, but yeah, not for me. 40 quid it was. Is it worth 40 quid though, Bobby? That's a question. I'm sure it's Elite Munch, but is it worth 40 quid? Not sure. I guess I don't know what I'm missing, do I, with the old Five Guys? Yeah, £20 just yourselves. Mental, though. Mental. And then you got to pay the fee for delivery as well. Will Gabriel start? I'm backing him too, Evan. No one knows for sure. No one's got a leak. No one knows. But I reckon he does. Now, Nando's you can do for about 15 quid. Definitely, you can have a good Nando's for 15 quid, but a Five Guys is 20. 20 quid for a burger and chips. It's ludicrous. Ludicrous. Is Madison worth the risk, or do I can't read it because there's a symbol. Do I start Diaby? I'd personally start both of them. I prefer Rashford and Pedro for this week. Yeah, McDonald's is good. Like, you go Nando's and Five Guys if you want to spend a bit more. McDonald's is good, but come on. Also, I don't mean to... Well, I'm conscious I sound a bit like a food conspiracy theorist when I say this. But, like, it's so... Well, I don't know. I feel like over the years, McDonald's have marketed... They've never marketed their food as healthy, right? That's not something they've done. But they twist the truth a little bit, I would say, on how healthy their food actually is. So they say the burger is like 100% meat, which could well be. But which part of the animal does it come from? And the second one is the McDonald's burger buns and bread for the sandwiches, etc. It's got more sugar in it, I think, than literally a sponge cake. Like, the burger buns from McDonald's are literally cakes. You're eating a burger that's inside a cake. And that's when people know that as well. When they leave a McDonald's burger on like the side or on a table for a couple of weeks, it doesn't go moldy because it's got so much sugar in it and preservatives that it doesn't go moldy. So McDonald's is awful for you, basically. I feel like Five Guys, whilst it's more expensive, it probably uses real bread, and the meat is probably from a better part of the animal, and like the fries are a lot better too. So I can see why, and you can taste the difference as well, I would imagine. But yeah, that's my thoughts on McDonald's anyway. You could choose to ignore me. Of course, that's like, you don't go to McDonald's because you want to have healthy food, right? But I feel like they mismarket it or market it to be a bit healthier than it actually is. There you go with Five Guys. That's why it's 20 quid. Like, that's why you can justify it. But I do can't really call myself a semi-professional or anything, but I do swim quite seriously and take my fitness and health quite seriously. So I have done my research on which food is good and bad. And Forest are going to get Hudson-Odoi. That's quite cool for them. Also, like the things, food such as McDonald's is designed not to make you feel full after you've finished eating it. It's literally designed to interact with the chemistry of your brain and I can't remember what the hunger hormone is called, but there's a hunger like chemical hormone in your brain. And McDonald's is designed, there's chemicals in the McDonald's food that is designed to specifically target that chemical to be released. There's other things, like all the junk food that you eat is specifically engineered to like hook onto that hunger hormone / chemical to make you want to eat more of it. So I don't know if Pringles, for example, they are atrocious for it. They've got chemicals in there that are literally designed to make you more hungry after you eat them. And it's the same with McDonald's. Is it ghrelin, is it? Let's have a look. Yeah, ghrelin and leptin. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Ghrelin. So yeah, these foods, they're made in factories, right? So it's not a far-fetched idea to think, someone's designed like a chemical formula for some of the preservatives that go in this food if it's made in a factory. I don't think that's too far-fetched. Anyway, I'll stop banging on about processed and unhealthy food. But it's a good rabbit hole to go down. I prefer Sigurd. I prefer Diaz. He's just more nailed to play. Completely agree, spaghetti and beans. Completely agree. I try to eat things that comes from animals or out of the ground. See, have a quick check of Twitter again, see if we got any new stuff. Oh, no leaks from Team News and Ticks. Let's see if leaked FPL Team News has got anything for us. No, I don't think there are any massive leaks. Yeah, Focal's flipping coins as well. See, some of these decisions this week are just absolute coin flips, aren't they? Should we do a bit of coin flipping? Anyone got a 50-50 decision that they just can't decide on? I'll flip a coin and take the decision out of your hands. Last season, I did have a true coin of truth. But unfortunately, the coin of truth, I've no idea where it went. So I'm gonna give a blessing to a new coin, so the new coin can become the coin of truth. Yeah, my old one is just gone. Don't know what happened to it. Here is the new coin of truth. Right, spaghetti and beans. First one, Henry Gusto. All right, Henry is going to be tails. Gusto is going to be heads. You ready? Henry tails, Gusto heads. Henry. Buy Matoma, sell Richarlison, keep Richarlison. So GH Gaming, I'm going to change that into 1 or 2 because I can't quite understand the moves. But buy Matoma, sell Richarlison is going to be tails, and the other one is going to be heads. That's the other one. Eze, Gabriel, or Pedro. Well, that's not a 50-50 decision, mate. That's 3 options. I need to narrow that down to 2. To be fair, that's a 3-way coin flip. Should we do a spin the wheel for that one? Let's do a spin the wheel. Do you need one of those 3, Barbie Army, or do you need 2? Oh, we spelled Pedro wrong, but you know what it means. We're spinning. It's a bit laggy. I'm streaming. I've got all sorts going on. There's your winner, mate. Keep the 50-50 calls coming if you got them. We got a coin and a spin the wheel. We'll help you out with this final 40 minutes. I'm really still not sure what to do with my transfer, to be honest. To bench boost or not? Bench boost? Not. Tails was bench boost, wasn't it? I haven't seen the coin. It's bench boost. Bench Walker or Gabriel? Walker's Tails. Gabriel, because he's going to score a header heads. Action. Good to see you, mate. The coin has been flipped. Walker. How's it going, Daction? What's happening in your life, mate? Any big decisions in FPL this week? It's good to see you again. Thank you for joining the stream one more time. Becoming a member next deadline. Mate, there's no pressure. No pressure for anyone to become a member. I'll be extremely grateful if you did. But there's never any pressure to spend your hard-earned money on me, that's for sure. I very much appreciate all of my members, though. If it's an extra perk as a member, I usually record my videos for FPL a day in advance or just when I find time. And I always upload them to members either a day or at least a few hours early for a bit of early access. So that's the benefit you'll get. And obviously you'll stand out more in the chat so I can read your messages and I'll make you a moderator as well. Best City defender to replace Shaw is Ruben Diaz, FPL Aguero. That was FPL Aguero. There we go. Said it properly. Johnson, Chilwell, Stupinian, Doji, Gabriel, Salah, Matoma, and Bumo Saka, Rashford, Haaland, Pedro, Mabama, Kabore on bench. 2 free transfers. What to do? No idea. No idea, mate. Absolutely no idea. That team is lovely. I'd probably do Mubama to Semenyo or Archer. That's the transfer. And then whatever with the rest of it. I think that team's lovely. I would probably start Pedro over Udoji. Tanish, I would go Gabriel. That's not a 50-50 decision for me. I'd go Gabriel. If he's still got Gabriel, you got belief in him. That's what I'm saying. Well, I don't know what that question is, Dakshin, whether it's whether I believe it or whether you believe, whether I think you believe it. I think you believe it because you're starting him. But I would go for, I'd play João Pedro over Udoji, mate. God, Trevor Chalobah to Bayern. That's a weird move, isn't it? Just goes from one bench to the other. That's really odd. We'll see, mate. We'll see. If Salah's bench this week, that will show how concrete. That's quite a funny hotel room. It's the true test of a good hotel, that. Does it have a plug socket next to the bed? The account I use, mate, is @JumpTheWave on Twitter. This one here. You can see that. It's just at the top there. He's got a team of 20 predictors from each of the Premier League teams that people are interested in. They all vote, and it gives you a score at the end. Gabriel, who's my player that I was interested in, was 87% to start, according to Arsenal fans. Donald Trump. The reason I was finding Donald Trump, by the way, was my fantastic meme that clearly isn't that great because it didn't get many likes. I did that meme. I thought it was quite a good meme. But there you go. It's fantastic, isn't it? Like, I do not support Donald Trump. I wouldn't vote for him if I was in America, but you can't not find his Twitter quite entertaining, right? It's at the minimum, it's entertainment. That's quite funny. Come on. It's not. Come on. Jackson starts, does he? Well, that's not really a surprise. Where's that info from on Jackson starting, by the way? Marcin is the GOAT of meme FPL for me. Who's Marcin? I don't think I have them. This one. Oh man, the WWE ones are amazing. Look at. Oh, that's so good. It's so good. All right, we'll give him a follow. I'll accept your recommendation. Oh, spaghetti and beans, mate. I don't know what you're doing there then. I didn't see the leak, so I couldn't do anything. I would bring in Bruno Fernandes this game week. Regardless, I think he's a fantastic transfer in. But I'd probably wait. This game week, I think it's all about rolling, to be honest. I still feel like the players most people would have picked it for game week 1 will still be good for game week 3. FPL newsletter, that's your source. I see. Let's have a look. I'm just not sure. I mean, it's not really a surprise that Nicholas Jackson starts. For me, that's not particularly groundbreaking news. The one player that I'd want to know about is Gusto. You know, that's the big news for me. Did they follow? Did Marcin follow me? God, shocking. Oh no, newsletter follows me. Well, I get a follow back. Apologies. I've had so many follows, man. I just can't keep track of them all. No, sometimes genuinely you just miss them, don't you? So apologies. If Gusto starts, I'll probably do Bulldog to Gusto. Thing is, though, if I buy... Oh, it's painful, isn't it? Because if I buy Gusto and then Chelsea absolutely smash it and there's a midfielder that emerges as an option that I could bring in for Martinelli, it blocks me out of another Chelsea player. That's the only thing on my mind at the moment, you know. I'm doing the gif where he's rubbing his head thinking. Yes, Alfie, Jackson and Chilwell start for Chelsea, I think. Will Gabriel start? I probably think so. I'd start Gabriel and Pedro. I'd go Gusto, Adoji, Archer. David O'Donoghue, I think Gabriel's going to play, and if he plays, he's better than Adoji. Aguero, in that case, I wouldn't sell Shaw, and I'd just start Saliba. I'd leave Shaw in your team and save the transfer. There's no point. If you're going to bench Saliba, I'd just start Saliba and then do the transfer next week. Oh, I'm still really unsure as to what to do with my transfers, you know. Really unsure. Yeah, you can do what I'm doing and just trade out a 4 million defender or Mubama for Archer, something like that. No, it's the Raf, I wouldn't. Thank you, Christopher. I think my advice is quite logical. You probably won't ever need your 4 million defender or 4.5 million striker, but if you're happy with your starting 11, I wouldn't be making any transfers to it. Oh, Aguero, that's tough. Who have you got in goal? I'd start João Pedro, James Smith, quite simply. He's on penalties. Got West Ham at home, probably going to start. It's just better. Johnson and Turner, well, that's a good team. You might be burning a transfer then, mate. Maybe it is now. Okay, I'd go short to Ruben Dias then. If you literally have no other option, I'd go short to Ruben Dias and then bench Saliba. All right. Okay. Okay, I'll do that. I would do Mubama to Archer. To the Colwill one. I haven't got any money in the bank, Alfie. Oh, an update on our boy Colwill. There you go. There isn't one. No, Alfie, I got nothing in the bank. Sorry, pal. In a bit of trouble. Imagine tweeting about Chelsea's injury list. They got like 500 players. We see Messi's got a bodyguard that follows him along the touchline as well. Ex-Navy SEAL. Doesn't let anyone touch him. I enjoy a peaceful life too. That's why I have a chat that goes off on an FPL Dead live stream instead. Nah, I'm joking. Yeah, GH Gaming, I did see it. It's insane. So I don't know if you remember what like the marker on the long jump looks like, but previously there's a white bit of plastic or polyurethane or something, and then the red line which you can't go over. If you go over it, it's a foul, and then a bit more plastic just in case your foot goes really far over to stop you slipping. And then they got rid of the bit of plastic on the end to stop people slipping. And we saw what happened. The guy went absolutely flying because he slipped. I think, what a ridiculous thing to do. Why? What is there? What any benefit in taking that, non-slip bit of plastic away from the board? Someone's going to really hurt themselves. Seems absolutely ridiculous to me. And what, for the sake of how? If they put it down to money, then God, idiots. I don't know about Lamptey either, mate. 11. I wouldn't do that. Christopher C, good luck, mate. I'm out for dinner with so basically there's a coach from my swimming team that's leaving to get a new job in September, so we're all going for a pizza and some beers. Well, I don't drink, but I'll be going anyway, just sober. Say goodbye to him, which should be good fun. Is it a tournament tonight, or are you just off to the casino? Oh, mate, I absolutely love the swimming. Still training every day. Got myself a Whoop to monitor all my heart conditions and health and all that. Yeah, I gym or swim every day, mate. Is Haaland the new prime athlete? Oh my god. Oh, off the drink. Yeah, I don't see any benefit in drinking, mate. Should I risk a -4 on? Absolutely not, Harry. Not even for free. Definitely don't make the move this week. Could be one next week, but not this week. I feel like for me, it's a lot easier to be off the drink because I have other like athletic goals, like in the weight room and in the pool. I've got objectives and goals that I want to achieve, and if I drink, it completely knocks those on the head. Really. Kabori to Gusto, I like it, mate. I like it. The only thing with Gusto for me is that it locks me out of having 2 Chelsea players. 3 ideal Chelsea players. That's what I wanted to say. Although I guess 2 defenders and Jackson's not the end of the world, is it? Is Gusto playing as well? I want to know. I want assurances that Gusto was starting. Oh. No, I wouldn't start him over Gabriel. Also, yeah, Danny Ings, look at it. He looks terrifying. I think he's obviously playing up to the camera with that one, though, isn't he? Saw a tweet saying Danny Ings looked like he was about to commit hate crime. I rate that. Best Man City defender is Ruben Diaz. That's quite funny. Very true, though. There was a Maya Jama thirst trap there. We're not showing that on stream. I haven't seen Kudus' price yet. I don't think he's been officially announced by the club, so we have to wait for the official club announcement. Will give it another 10 minutes, mate. Yeah, Doku. That's all I've seen too. I wouldn't do any of them Ice Cold Jones. I'd do either of them next week, but I wouldn't make the move this week. Just trying to keep an eye on Twitter to see if we got any news, basically. Yeah, this guy's done shorter Diaz. I don't mind that. I need to just put my phone on charge on the other side of the room very quickly. Also, I bought this t-shirt the other day. Carhartt. It's like a... I don't know what colour you describe this. Like maroon. What do you think of the colour? I like it because it's got a stitched logo rather than a like stuck on one, so it's not gonna fade. Gabrielle 15-pointer would make my year. It make my decade. No, I'm joking. It'd make me very happy. Bench Martinelli or João Pedro. I did 2 transfers. No, don't do it. I wouldn't have done the moves, but I would bench Martinelli. Oh, flip a coin, Josh. Flip a coin. I can't do it. I can't do it, Josh. You gotta flip a coin, mate. I can't decide for you. Flip a coin. I'm like massaging my brain to try and think, but I can't do it. I would not sell Rashford for Foden. Might do it this week, next week, but I wouldn't do it this week. I'm Martinelli over Diaby or Watkins for Alvarez. No. No, don't make any of those moves. Stick with your guns. Hold your nerve. The 2 players you're looking to bring in, I think, are arguably worse than the players you're taking out. Good Lord, Marcus. Surely there's a better decision on your team than that. Surely. Gabriel out. I'm keeping him. Here's my team. I'm keeping him. I don't know, mate. I think there's... I'm hurrying. I don't think I bench any of them. I think there's someone else in your team that you should bench. But we don't know if Gusto plays, do we? Has Archer signed for Sheffield United in the game officially yet? He hasn't. So that means I've got 2 Aston Villa. I'm not sure I want to do that. I think I want to go Gusto. Not going to confirm it yet. Benching Salah. Marcus, that is absolutely ludicrous. There must be something else in your team. Someone else in your team that you can bench ahead of Salah. Yeah, Luke, I don't mind that at all. Don't mind that at all. Not sure about Son. He's not showed me enough yet. But if you see something in him, then go for it. Should I buy Foden for Rashi or Bruno? No. Don't do it this week. Do it next week. Hold your nerve. 2 frees. I'm thinking of doing my Bulldog to Gusto because I can't really justify any other transfers. So it's Bulldog to Gusto or Mubama to Archer. And Archer's currently at Aston Villa still. So I think it's Bulldog to Gusto. This week is not one of the weeks. I agree. Sterling pops, fair enough. You've got Archer already. Then it's Bulldog to Gusto then, isn't it? Bulldog to Gusto. Any news? Chilwell and Jackson start. That's all the news I've got so far. Should I sell Watkins? Absolutely not. Leaked FPL? I don't know. I'll let you know. I recognise people's profile pictures rather than their... I'm starting Gabrielle, by the way. I'm just buying Gusto so I don't waste a transfer. I've had a mixed bag from Leaks lineups before. A mixed bag. Although I'd believe that team. Yeah, I'd believe that team. I'd believe that team. By the way, that team is definitely a 3-5-2. Sorry, a 3-4-3. So yeah, I'd probably believe that team. I think I'm locked. I'm going to do the Gusto move. I'm going to keep the faith in Gabriel for one more week. Yeah, for me, that is too big of a gamble, Beezy. I think I would play Pedro over Guardiola. 9.2 million for a mid, other than Saka and Bumo, Bruno, Matoma. Odegaard. Yeah, I'd go Odegaard. Bulldog to Gusto. What a horrendous transfer. What a horrendous transfer, but I just can't justify another one yet. Mubama to Archer is one of the transfers of all time. Which do you think Spaghetti and Beans? Is it Mubama to Archer or Bulldog to Gusto that I should do? Because Gusto, I could actually start him. Whereas Archer, I don't think is ever a starting option, you know? Do you think Arsenal going to haul tomorrow? They could do. They usually do really well against Fulham. Fulham are defensively the worst team I've seen so far. Pickford, Trippier, Chilwell, Estupinian. Oh, Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, March, Odegaard, Saka, João Pedro, Haaland. Yeah, I reckon I'll wildcard by the time he's not good anymore, Aguero. Like that team. Yeah, love that team, Nicola. Chelsea prediction, 2-0. Son or Maddison? Maddison, because he's cheaper. I'd go Odegaard over all of them, though. Luke, I like it. I like it. Maddison's also got a terrible injury record as well. That's my thinking, Spaghetti and Beans. Yeah, all right. Done. Transfer's done. I'm sticking with Gabriel. I'm going Gusto. Who should I'm going to go vice captain on Saka as well. Start Gusto or Pedro, João Pedro, mate. I'm literally starting Gabriel over Gusto. Foden is tempting, I would agree. But I wouldn't give him captaincy. No chance. Shanyo, it's okay. Don't panic. Even if you forget, you probably don't need to make a transfer this week, would be my hunch. Do I keep Zinchenko? Definitely. I think Zinchenko plays this weekend. By the way, if you're new to this channel or my stream, please subscribe to the Golden Goal channel if you're enjoying yourself. And as well, if you're not new and just around and you haven't pressed like already, please hit the like button. I've not even asked for anyone to do that at all yet. Team news is Chilwell and Jackson start. Someone has also leaked a Chelsea team. Don't know how believable it is. Is it worth taking a -4? Absolutely not. Do not do. I wouldn't even do that transfer for free. Yes, sir. Yep, I like that, Luke. That's absolutely fine. Steele or Turner? Steele, if you're starting one this week. I think Steele will play. Watkins to Jackson just feels totally pointless this week for me. Sterling starts, Chilwell starts. He doesn't have Colwell news. Doesn't know if Colwell plays. Adnan, it's FPL Aguero, look. There he is. Cheers for the follow. I wish I could start Gusto, but I don't want double. Nah, mate, I'm the same. Don't worry, I'm not starting him. This makes you feel better. He's first on my bench. Torn between Odegaard and Son. Flip a coin. Ready? I'm going to help you. Odegaard. Son. I can't remember which was. I think that was Odegaard, wasn't it? Odegaard was heads, I'm pretty sure. Whichever was heads, it landed on heads. There's your decision, Luke. It's 50-50. Take the decision out of your hands. That's what I say. Seven minutes to go, boys and girls. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Ooh, hopefully I didn't just spit water all down myself then. I think I got away with it. Thank you, everyone that's in the chat for, having a bit of back and forth with me, and joining the stream and liking and watching and subscribing, all that stuff. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you to all the members for joining. Shaniel, yep, I think your team will be fine. Yeah, just thank you so much for watching. Still got 6 minutes to go, so I'm not going anywhere just yet. But yeah, just to thank you for everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. I really enjoy doing these. Yeah, thank you for making them so enjoyable. Spaghetti and beans, it's going to happen. Gabriel goal is going to happen. Big ups to Gabriel goal. That's what I'm saying. Oh. Love you too, Dakshin. Mitoma or Martinelli for Mbumo? None of them. Why would you do that? Why would you get rid of Mbumo? No chance. Henry or Botman? Botman bench. He's got Liverpool. I'd play Henry. 100% play Henry. That's going to get some trolls, isn't it? Bench boost done. He's bench boosted. That's huge. Good for you, man. I would bench Colwill out of that lot. Diaz is fine. I think he's absolutely fine to have as your third City spot, in my opinion. How long we got? 4 minutes. I'm just going to double check my fan teams on my phone. The last thing I want to do is forget to do them or whatever. I think we're good. Start. Yeah, whatever. I like that, Luke. That works for me. Three minutes to go, everyone. Should I start Guardiola or Estupinian all day long? He's the best defender in the game. You gotta go. You gotta start Estupinian. No doubt in my mind. You gotta start Estupinian. I'd say there's an 85% chance that Estupinian outscores Guardiola. Yeah, exactly, Christopher. You got to be, if you're bench boosting, you're sound. Yeah, that's fine, Beltran. I would still start Estupinian though. I think it's probably Eze's last chance, isn't it? He goes 3 weeks without a return. Probably want to be selling him. Then he returns after you sell him. That's the old story. Sod's Law. Minute to go, everyone. I'm going to shoot off at 6:30 because I've got to get ready for my pizza and beers. Well, not beers for me, but yeah. I'm going to shoot at 6:30. Yeah, just as I was saying earlier, thank you so much, everyone, for joining the stream. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a like rating. And as always, subscribe to the Golden Goal channel. I'll be doing FPL videos every week. Good luck for the game week. Hopefully, I've helped you with your decision or merely just filled in the last 2.5 hours with a bit of chat and entertainment. I really appreciate it. Yeah, if you can leave a like and subscribe to the Golden Goal channel if you haven't already. And I wish you all the best for game week 3. We'll stick around until 6:30 as the deadline hits. Bobby, big love, mate. Shaniel, big ups. Spaghetti and Beans, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for making it good. There's the deadline. Right, everyone.